Hello, I and the others member group will discuss about a product called Radial Arm Saw. First of all, I will introduce myself and my group member. My name is Irian Jim, and the others member of my group is Nathaniel Delinseng, Deljoy Eddie, and Muhammad Shukri bin Muhammad. Overview of Radial Arm Saws. Radial arm saws originally invented in early 1920 by Raymond DeWalt. A radial arm saw is a woodworking machine that's designed to cut and shape wooden work pieces. It features a circular saw blade that mounted radially on a stable platform. There's handle on the side as well as a guard to protect the worker from injury during use. Okay, let's talk about the features. Okay, the first one is blade. Blade is the main features of this product that used to cut a wooden, and the blade can also be replaced with shaping cutters, disc or drum sanders, and other accessories.
Other features for radial arm saw is it has guard near the blade to protect the blade and to prevent injury while carrying out work.
For radial arm saw is handle. Serve as a handle to operate the radial arm saw.
The next features is anti-kickback. Anti-kickback poles are saw attachments that reduce kickback while operating a saw. They reduce the risk of injury and equipment damage. They can be installed on table and radial arm saws. They do not come with all saws, so in some cases you will have to buy them separately.
Let's talk about the radial arm saw's function. The first one is you can use the radial arm saw for rip cutting the stock such as panel or the timbers. With the help of this machine, you can do this task very easily. It has to rip the position as the outrip and in-rip. In the in-rip, positioned blade in part of the motor blade is placed near to the fence, and when we talk about the outrip position, the blade end of the motor is placed near to the front part of the table.
The next function for the radial arm saw is grinding. You can also use the radial arm saw for grinding purpose. When you don't have a grinder at home, you can use this saw for grinding purpose, which is so much handy. You also can use this as the horizontal drill press, and this can be used to saw blades.
For function is radial arm saw can also be used for cross-cutting thick and wide type of material. When you cut the cross-cut with the help of this machine, then you have to set the depth of the blade just below the surface of the table.
The next function is miters and bevels. With the help of radial arm saw, you can cut the miters up to 60 degrees to both sides. For example, either to the left or the right. Or you can also cut up to 90 degrees of the bevel very easily. But you can do this only in a single direction. With the help of radial arm saw, you can cut compound and more complicated angles other than the compound miter saw.
Next is radial arm saws characteristic. First is radial arm saw are circular saws that cut downward either with or against the wood grain, rip or cross cut.
Radial arm saw have features that make them more versatile than table saws. The first feature is the saw's arm can be raised and lowered and swing from side to side to adjust the depth of horizontal angle of the cut. Second, the blade can be replaced with shaping cutters, discs or drum sanders, and other accessories.
For characteristic is for cross-cutting is the operator push the wood away from himself or herself against a fence. For rib cuts, the blade is set parallel to the fence and the stock is pushed through. The saw blade rotates upward toward the operator who feeds the stock in the opposite direction of the blade movement.
Radial arm saw have its own strength and weakness. The strength is they feature a simple design to allow carpenters to quickly and efficiently cut wooden workpieces. And the weakness is radial arm saws are typically more expensive. The high cost makes them unattractive choices for both commercial and consumer woodworking applications.
And strength and weakness for radial arm saw is for strength, power tool for cutting wood were limited at best. And second, the radial arm saw solve this problem by offering an easy to use solution. And for weakness is radial arm saw also require extra work for maintenance. If the blade become a dull, it may drive itself into the wooden workpiece during operation.
Next is strengths and weaknesses. Strength is driven by an electronic motor. It allowed carpenters to quickly cut wooden workpieces. Second, a radial arm saw its ability to perform both miter and rib cuts. The weaknesses: while they work well for cutting plywood and other thin sheets of wood, radial arm saws aren't effective at cutting lumber. Thick pieces of lumber typically require a different woodworking machine. Next is recommendations about radial arm saws. When compared to the table saws, radial arm saws come out quite well. Radial saws are able to make a much larger variety of cuts and with more accuracy. Second, while table saws can make more than rib cuts, they aren't able to do so with any sorts of real accuracy without the help of additional accessories such as a crosscut sledge or a miter gauge. The RAS can both make a large variety of cuts and make them accurately. The third, another benefit of radial arm saws is that because you are moving the actual blade itself, you can cut heavy pieces of wood. With a table saw, you have to be able to push the heavier pieces of wood, which can be hard to do with any sorts of accuracy. The lastly is, in terms of space, radial arm saws are less bulky and they don't take up as much space in a garage or workshop. Given that a RAS can do many of the same jobs that a table saw can, this is a pretty significant advantage. This is radial arm saw safety video.
Okay, so this machine is called the Radial Arm Saw. The Radial Arm Saw allows you to cut rough lumber. So here we have an example of a rough piece of maple. Why does the machine allow you to cut rough lumber as opposed to the miter saw, which needs a plain and jointed edge? Is that here we have a 14-inch diameter blade, okay, which increases the cutting surface area. And here we also have a 5 horsepower motor, all right, which gives extra horsepower to allow it to cut rough lumber. Here we have rollers, which allows you to roll, all right, the piece along, okay. There are safety guards here, okay, to keep any hands away from the blade. When you are cutting, again, your stance is important. Left foot forward, right foot back. I'm going to push the piece of lumber so it's tight against the fence. So here the blade is to the right of my cut line, all right, because you actually lose 1/8 of an inch of material with the thickness of this blade. Okay, never ever start the blade right on your stock, so it's always going to be pushed back. Here we have a second safety mechanism stop, this mushroom stop. So you have to open up the mushroom stop, all Alright, I'm going to readjust just in case, so I know my blade is to the right. Hit the green button. I'm going to pull the carriage towards myself. Step back, and wait for the blade to stop. Okay. Obviously, when using this machine, we need our dust collection system on, but I didn't have it running just because of demonstration purposes. So here's my off-cut piece. Okay. So again, this is the carriage that you pull towards. Once you are finished cutting here, and you're going to lock the carriage with this knob here. This knob here locks against the body. Okay, so now the carriage is locked in place and it's safe for the next person to use. And that's the radial arm saw.
So that's all from us. Thank you for watching.